Hi everyone, good evening. Welcome to a rather cold evening in not so sunny London. Normally baking here in the studio, but the furnace is off at this time of night and it has been warmer. I'm keeping my gilet on. Anyway, very, very welcome. We've got people joining from virtually all over the world, from various countries. So we're just going to take a moment or two to let everybody sign in, log on. I wanted to welcome you to Collect at London Glassblowing. We're doing this in our own studio for a number of reasons, but primarily because we were concerned about the whole COVID situation. But it's turned out very well, and most people seem to be enjoying our space. And for those of you who aren't familiar with it, the studio is beyond. I don't know if, Anthony, if you can sweep around, do a sort of zoom into the studio space. Nobody's blowing, obviously, at this time of night. The furnace is being charged and it's getting up to temperature for tomorrow's blowing. Oh, thanks, Anthony. I'd like to introduce you to Anthony Scala. I don't know if can you turn that around to show, here we are. Anthony's looking after the camera this evening. As you may know him as one of our resident artists, and we have some very beautiful new pieces of his here this evening. I'm glad to show you. We also have James and Isabel in attendance, thank goodness, to help with our rather techie sort of efforts. We're not experts at this, so I hope you'll bear with us if things go haywire, but we'll do our best. Anyway, we have a great cameraman. So I think without further ado, Anthony, we'll make a start on a bit of a tour of the studio. I think we'll start here with some brand new pieces by Sabrina Kant, who used to work in the studio in the 90s, but she's been working from her own studio for the last decade or so, last few decades, come to think of it. And these are both new pieces of hers. This one is available as it happens. That one we've already sold and taken a commission on, brand new. I will show you an earlier piece of hers that we have as well, but it's exhibited somewhere else in the gallery. And it's actually these are very, very beautiful pieces. They're put together almost like jigsaw puzzles made up of myriad pieces, cast objects, and then ground and polished, and with added gold. That's put on, obviously, when the piece is cold. So the gilding is a subsequent item. This element here, this piece is called The Sun is King. Oh, the Sun is God, actually. That piece is actually glass. Several people have thought that was a metal edition, but in actual fact, it's gilded glass. Gorgeous pieces, really lovely colors. So if we move on, Anthony, let's go to this corner if we can. This is a piece of mine. I've been working on some ammonite forms, which have grown into fern shapes. They are actually magnetized. They're stuck on with magnets so that they can be rearranged at will. So it's kind of do-it-yourself sculpture in a sense. Ran out of magnets, so this one's not magnetized, so that's easy to move. And the idea is to play around with the negative shapes and the patterns and make your own composition. There's another version of that here in a different colorway. This is a colorway that I call it Marrakesh, and I'm particularly enamored of it at the moment. I'm really enjoying these strong, I don't know if any of you have visited, or many of you may have visited the Majorelle Garden, Yves Saint Laurent's garden in Marrakesh, where these colors are featured. And I came away, it's a garden made up mainly of cacti and in some areas ferns. And I came away absolutely enamored of this strong blue. Here it's, I mean, I've got, these are all etched pieces, but they look pretty good. Actually, here's an unetched version. This gives an indication of what's, this is, I call this a cone. And they're part of the same sort of beach combing, natural phenomena kind of approach that I have taken. And up above, there are some platters of mine which don't have to be on the wall. And again, if they were yours, you could make up your own composition of them. I'm again interested in the negative shapes, and they have ammonite connotations too. The inspiration, I suppose, bearing in mind that it's a similar sort of colorway, was I call it sunburst, and that relates to the kind of things that go on behind your eyelids, my eyelids, when I'm sitting in the sun with my eyes closed. Slightly fanciful, but in between here, we've got a couple of, a group of pieces by Layton, who's worked alongside me one way or another in association with me for over about 25 years. Here he is revisiting a design from some 10 years ago, and it's much crisper, yeah, I suppose that's the best expression. This is made up of canes which are twisted, made, sorry, shall we swap places? I'll come around here. So this is cane work. Each cane is a bit like Brighton Rock insofar as there's one color inside and one on the outside. So we've got white over black and black over white. And when cold, so they're twisted up during the blowing process. This is actually a good example because this is only partially cut, but and you can actually see into it maybe. I'm not sure how translucent that is. I can see into it. Anyway, when Layton's cutting this, he cuts in the opposite direction and cuts through to the color, the encapsulated color. And here he's only partially done the cutting. And actually, this has been a really sought after piece, successful piece. And I think, you know, again, we could have sold this a number of times. I don't mean to harp on about the selling, but, you know, here we are in London with bills to pay, escalating costs and gas bills that would make you shudder. Nevertheless, we're having fun. We're trying to enjoy what we're doing. And so we'll move right along, Anthony, and talk a little bit about Eliot's work. We have 2 or 3 pieces here by Eliot Walker of Blown Away fame. I don't know how many of you have seen his this series on Netflix. It's a bit like Bake Off for Glass. Well, Eliot, this is a spoiler alert, but Eliot won the 2nd series. A very, very exciting process from his point of view and ours. We're all on the edge of our seats throughout the series. And I have to say he's well on his way to superstardom now. I mean, he's a glass rock. What expression would you?
Rockstar.
A rock star in the glass world. He was
a megastar now.
A megastar. Anyway, very, very beautiful detail. You might want to zero in on that fruit and stuff. And incredibly inventive, super skilled, and on the point of setting up his own studio. He was very sad he's not here anymore, but I'm hoping to work with him again in the future. Certainly very fruitful collaboration when we did work together. So a couple of pieces by Bruce Marks, who continues to make these bird forms and gets better and better at it. I mean, his process is one of total refinement. He doesn't leap around trying all sorts of shapes and sizes I tend to do, but he's just perfecting this beautiful shading in the blowing, which is quite a tricky process. He does have some new shapes, which I'm going to show you later on. And moving right along, these are gorgeous. I'm biased, actually. I'm biased here. These are by my daughter, Sophie, who's primarily a printmaker, but beginning to work in glass, or has been working in glass for a little while. She actually is Tim Rawlinson's wife, and about to have a baby any minute. So that's her creative contribution for the moment, along with these. And they are pieces that would brighten up any interior, I think. And she's bringing some of her printmaking skills to the glass work, and vice versa. The glass is having a huge effect on her printmaking. And what's interesting is her use of enamels. She's applying these in quite a painterly way. And as I say, I know I'm biased, but I actually think they're amongst the most exciting pieces around at the moment. So in our show, I'm loving them. Blown, made with in conjunction with Louis Thompson, who's our gaffer here, our main blower. But moving right along, we're back to Elliot. We've got a couple more pieces of Elliot's. Super skills, super witty. I'd say that was probably very true of the piece above on the wall here. I don't know, I don't need to rush you, Anthony, but this is called Irreverence, and it was one of a group of 3, but we only have this one left. And it's really a poke at Murano, I suppose, a little bit of a dig at Venetians, the super skills of Venetian glass, portrayed in Venetian glass. So again, very clever, very wittily conceived, and this whole question of how the nail fittings, so well thought out, so well thought through.
Are they bronze?
Those are gold-plated metal. Oh, they are bronze, are they? Forgive me, sorry. They're bronze, okay. Yeah, gold plating would be a bit much, wouldn't it? And now I'd like to show you a piece of Louis Thompson's. He, as I said, he's our gaffer here, our main blower. He, along with Bruce Marks. And this is one of the series of pieces that he's done over the last few years, where the inclusions refer to his DNA. This particular group is called Mysterious Matters. Ah, right. Have we?
And she says, are there any pieces here that have been inspired by the pandemic?
Right. I'm not certain about. Yes, well, maybe Planet, when we get to David Reiki, maybe that might be relevant there. There's certainly a lot of pieces that have been made. So did you all hear the question? Are there any pieces in this show inspired by the pandemic? I'm not certain of that, but there are things, there's certainly a lot of work that's been made during the pandemic, and we will get to one or two that may have some pandemic connection or significance. So this is a piece by our apprentice, Scylla Ucell, apprentice in the coal workshop. Really, really subtle, delicate, a great deal more complex than it would appear. I love this reflection, the way the shadow, the way the color. I think this is absolutely gorgeous, really, really painterly somehow. She has another piece which was sold and we've put it in the glass cabinet where it doesn't glow quite as it should, but I'll show it to you in a moment as we pass by. Or perhaps we could go there next, Anthony. Scylla Ucell, yes. This piece, you're not seeing it actually at its best in there. And that's her in the background. She's doing very, very well. We're very, very pleased with her efforts. So another pair of Bruce's bird forms, and moving along to work by Kate Pasval. Kate had a career as an architect and was a late, as was I, a late comer to glass. She was also an avid walker. So her first several series dealt with walks that took place in the Welsh mountains. This latest group are based on the Lake District. They're really, really beautiful. I love them. There's this enormous sense of space. I hope that's coming over through the camera. I can't quite tell, but so she uses precious metal foils or silver or gold leaf or bronze, and these are laminated into fused and laminated and fused, or fused cast into blocks. And these compositions are the result. So they're quite. If I pick this up, you can and show you the edge. It gives an indication of the layering of these. But very cleverly done. She managed to create an incredible sense of space. And these autumny colors are absolutely delicious. I could very easily live with one of these pieces. Haven't succumbed yet, but I will. Go up to, if you want to. Are you going up to the top shelf?
I'm not sure I can quite reach up there.
Yeah. Oh, Anthony.
There we go.
Stretching. They are really delightful. Thank you, Ant. So I've been asked how Scylla achieves these cubes. So they are cast in parts and then bonded and ground and polished and then reground. They actually have a wonderfully silky, very soft, silky surface, which is extremely satisfying. If we look at Tim Rawlinson's piece here, we talked about the shadow on Scylla's piece, and on Tim's piece here, which is called Parallax, you have a similar wonderful reflection. Is that a reflection or a shadow? What would you call that, Anthony?
Projection.
A projection. Excellent. Thank you. That's great. I'll use that in future. Yes, so this projected shadow reflection. It's gorgeous. I love it. I mean, that's very much part of the object. I think if you owned it, you'd need to do something like that to get the best out of it. So moving right along, we have a very nice, very beautiful piece by Colin Reed with, so this again is a laminated cast piece with Batuto cutting. This texture, both top and bottom, is achieved by cutting off, you know, when the piece is cold, obviously. So it's been polished, cut, probably the cutting took place prior to the polishing, I assume, yeah. Very beautiful, very nice, very tactile. This would make a wonderful centerpiece for somebody's table. I love it. I get to be able to touch. There are big signs here that say, please do not touch. And I probably shouldn't, because they'll probably get me finger marks all over it. That's why I tended to, for years and years, I made only iridized or etched pieces, because having been a potter, I wanted people to be able to handle the things. And of course, shiny glass, you tend to get finger marks. But anyway, I've graduated. I've graduated to normal, proper shiny glass these days. So this is another piece of Tim's, which is called Singularity. So the vertical versions are Singularity, and the horizontal versions, and there are a couple more that I'll show you, are called Parallax. So next to those are, these are recent pieces, and I mean, you asked about COVID. I suppose this is probably a remark that's meant to, I mean, I'm sure it's about climate change. However, it could just as well apply to the whole business of what we're doing to the planet pandemic-wise. So these are new pieces by, or these are pieces that are collaboration between Morag and David Reiki, Morag being David's daughter. So they are lost wax cast. Again, really nice to handle and touch. I love these bald heads. They're great and lovely textured bodies. Clearly this is not, you know, these are prickly. So, so these sharp elements have been placed in the mold prior to the cast taking place, so that they're buried into the glass. I mean, they're encapsulated in the glass once the piece is cast. Right. So these are a couple of pieces by Lane Rowe, two also really witty pieces. Can I turn that for you, Anthony? Does that help? Peter Layton, please keep your hands off the glass. I can see people in the background. The idea of a flower of the pin for grab. Actually, these are terribly, thinking about the Ukraine situation. They're rather, what can I say? Yes, poignant, aren't they? Poignant, is that the word? They're rather, what's the word when you foretell the future? Yes, maybe that one will do. Yeah, thank you, Anthony. So another very beautiful piece by Colin, in a style or of a type of a design that precedes the colored platter that we looked at earlier. I'm told that Colin's probably not going to be making many more of this kind of, not much more of this kind of work in the future, sadly, because it's a real showstopper. Everybody loves it. We've sold it twice already, and I think we've sold, well, we've sold this one once, obviously, and we've taken 2 commissions. But I suspect that may well be the end of his production of this kind of thing. He's just I think maybe wanting to do a little less and to concentrate on other things, you know, other types of work. So then a couple of my black and white ammonites over there, and then some orange ones, and then we move on to some more of Tim's work. So this is again a singularity, and this one is a parallax 2, in fact. Really, really jealous of that piece. I wish it's the sort of thing I wish I had made. It's really annoying that he's doing so well, and it's not really. I'm really pleased for him. He's about to become a dad any minute. And now, pièce de résistance, we've come to Anthony's work. Who is this guy, Anthony Scala, anyway? Yeah. No way. So Anthony first came to my studio as an 8-year-old, and he hasn't left. Or he's been around for quite a while now. He's got his own very handsome, very compact, very well organized studio, actually close to where I live, and it really is a joy to go there. Although it keeps it all well hidden from most people. But this is a new departure for Anthony. These enclosing, laminating dichroic, aren't you?
Yeah, it's cast into a block and then laminated to the optical blur.
Right. Very, very nice. Beautiful textures. I think this one, which these two in the front have sold, but this one is actually my favorite. I think this is the one which, so maybe it's slightly more subtle than the others, and I absolutely adore it. It's very, very beautiful, Anthony. So a group of bottle forms and an ammonite of mine. We won't linger too long on those. I suppose the thing might add or say is that they're inspired by bottle kilns. I used to be a ceramicist, potter. I spent quite a bit of time in Stoke-on-Trent. The bottle furnaces, or in Stourbridge, are a different shape. This is a shape that's stuck with me for a number of years, and I return to it from time to time in some shape or form. But they've been fun to make. It's been an enjoyable little excursion. So, Anthony, let's go back to Lane here. We've got a few more pieces of Lane Rose. And what would be nice is if you could manage to look inside them. Could you try and get in so that that's it? Yeah, if you can get over them. So as you come up, then we've got a couple more pieces by Tim Rawlinson, his Echoes of Light. That one's quite delicate, subtle version, and then there's quite a bright one in the background here, this one, which is actually quite uplifting color. It's very sunny and it's quite, yeah. It's single color, but what happens is that you get these wonderful sort of reflections in the edges. The color sort of migrates to the edge, and it's absolutely delicious. And in foreground, there are a couple of gorgeous pieces by Catherine Coleman. They are both sold, and it's, you know, there's about a 2-year waiting list to get a piece out of Catherine. It's almost impossible. Her work is so sought after and so beautiful, so we could have sold these several times. It's not all about, we're not only here to sell, but we do need to pay our bills, sadly. And you will have noticed a number of red spots, but if there is something that you're particularly excited by or interested in, don't hesitate to ask, because in some cases, the artists are willing to take commissions, you know, like, as I mentioned, with Sabrina or with Tim. These are copper wheel engraved. Can you get in over the top at all? Don't drop the camera, will you? Thanks, Anthony. They really are magical pieces, aren't they? So the way these are made, just in case anybody wonders, they're overlaid with, in this case, with the amber, and Catherine has engraved through that layer and then created a pattern on the clear glass that she's revealed. And because this is beautiful, very thick and beautifully polished on the top, you get this wonderful reflection on the interior, on the bubble, on the exterior of the bubble. Really, really lovely pieces. We are so delighted to have them. So we'll, moving right along, as they say, as you pass by this piece of Tim's, maybe it's worth, that's it. Thank you very much. Oh, lovely, Tim. You know what? We didn't talk about those two, did we? Yeah, do you want to get in? That's perfect. Thank you. So these two pieces are a collaboration between David Patchen, a very well-known American glass artist, well, primarily known for his work with Morini, which are small patterned elements which are put together mosaic style, or as I said, a bit like a jigsaw puzzle, flat, fused, and then I believe what happens in this case is that he turns that into a bowl. He forms a bowl, either at the furnace, yeah, I guess at the furnace, and then he ships that over to England, to James Devereux's studio, Devereux and Husky, where James works his magic by filling the bowl and forming this piece, nearly 1 meter in height, and doing this hot chipping technique that is rather famous for, you know, having done all this work to actually attack that piece while it's on your blowing up, well, in this case, a big solid punty iron, with an ice pick, you know, is brave, to say the least. I mean, it's either courage or, well, I mean, they've survived and they're magnificent. Really a very handsome pair. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. If I can't answer them, we'll get an answer sooner or later for you. A few more of my things and another very interesting piece by David, insofar as he doesn't often work with female figures. And this piece is Venus off balance. Again, rather cryptic. So, yeah, Anthony, we'll take I don't know if you, again, we've got an absolutely gorgeous reflection, a projection at the back there. So this is a piece of Tim's made up of only 3 colors, although it looks like there are many, many more here. I mean, that's Tim's thing. He plays with light and color in an effort to create illusions, really. And so many people think these are solid forms too. So really incredibly a good bit of blowing. The whole piece is much bigger, and of course he's taken off 2/3 of the piece almost, I'd say. Yeah, one nasty finger mark on there. I don't know if I did that, but anyway, sort it out later. These are Bruce's latest forms. I think they're delicious. I mean, they're almost good enough to eat. You know, they sort of make me think of ice creams or lollipops or something. You kind of feel I'd like to lick them. They are delicious things. This shading is really quite a tricky process, and he's doing it so well. I have to hand it to him, really. Very nicely done. Sorry, I'm behind you. Here we've got another piece of Tim's. He calls it oculus. Something to do with the eye. Shall I turn it for you? Would it help? That's quite nice, that edge, isn't it? Is that working?
Yes.
Good. Oh, good. I want you to be happy in your. Anthony's teaching at the Royal College of Art these days. He's the British guru on precision glassmaking, bonding, and yeah, mind that piece. Yeah, because it's one of mine. Okay, so these I call these pieces shoots. They're sort of an offshoot of the ferns. They're a simplification of they're something between the bottle forms and the ferns, and I actually am very pleased with this group. It's a nice. It's just a play of patterns and spaces. They probably weren't set quite like that. These spaces are probably more critical than they are here. These things get moved around during the course of the show, and that's better. That's much better. Much prefer that. So all these negative shapes and things are really important to me. and a few more of these bottles in the sort of in that Marrakesh colorway. Well, we're nearly all the way around. Gosh. Playing with color and pattern. And this is a slightly earlier piece by Sabrina. It's actually probably my favorite. And somehow, if you can get in on this, Anthony, you can see there's a slight linear pattern in there, which indicates how these pieces are put together, when, you know, in order to fuse them. And really, really delicate, subtle qualities, you know, the sort of thing you dream about making when you're flying somewhere or other. Nowadays, we're not flying that much, but I used to look out of the porthole, the windows, and think, God, that sky is amazing. If only one could capture that. And I do feel that somehow Sabrina manages to do that. I mean, it's absolutely exquisite. And some lucky person has got it. Yeah, that's good, isn't it? Like that. So a few more pieces of mine. I seem to be quite well represented in the show. I suppose that since it's my gallery, that might not be too. These are sort of cloud. These are cloud, what I call cloud forms, and these are limpet bowls. How are we doing for time? Yeah, we'll do. We'll go around that. Yeah. So Anthony, can you manage to get around here at all? So this is a smaller spotty fern group. Again, actually this size, I've taken a few commissions for these. This size seems to suit people better. The other ones are, I think, oh, it's rather dark. Okay, well, not to worry. Anyway, having a lot of fun with this colorway. I'm really, really enjoying it. I mean, it's just magical what happens. Well, I suppose this group up here, this is where they, wow, that's good, Anthony. The dance of the photographer. This is where that colorway began, and as I said, I call it. Well, these are called sari shibori. I came back from Japan a couple of years ago, having looked at Japanese textiles quite a lot. I didn't see anything in this colorway, of course, but, well, I say of course. So I did an indigo version, indigo and white, like the shoots. But as I say, this is this particular orange and blue has captured my heart at the moment, and I really continue to enjoy it. And so it seems that our customers do too. So long may it last. So we do have a catalogue of this show, and I think you can. Sorry, can you say that again? Ah, okay, sorry. I'm told that you were all sent an email with a link to the catalogue today. So please do, if you spot anything you love, do get in touch, or do do help us keep this ship afloat one way or another. It's quite a task. So would you like me to go back to anything? Are there any other questions, or if you have any other questions, or phone in if there's a piece that you'd like me to go back to in more detail? Shall we move over? Come back and let's just have another look at your pieces, Anthony. I think you probably didn't quite do them justice, really. Modest little flower that you are. So I really, really like to thank you all for joining us. I hope you've enjoyed this tour. Yeah, we'd love your feedback. And of course, we'd love you to enlarge your glass collection if you feel there's something here that you'd love. So as I said, thank you very much for joining us. Bye.